Hi everybody, Jason Smith here. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Truth About Social Ads. I'm an agency owner specializing in Facebook and Instagram ads, and I have dedicated my professional life to helping you learn what others won't tell you about Facebook ads. You know, I believe there's so much information that no one is sharing about Facebook ads and how you can fail and win running ads for your business and when it's time to hire an agency. That's why I'm here bringing ideas and information that can help you run successful Facebook and Instagram ads. Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of The Truth About Social Ads. Today we're talking about a very important topic, but before I go there, sorry I've been MIA for a month or so. Had a pretty bad motorcycle accident and just recovering from that. So, and Eric's been manning the ship, so we appreciate that. But yeah, we're excited about this episode today. The episode is on agency roles, and I've personally never heard anybody talk about this, so I'm super excited to chat about it with Eric. And really, this episode is about what your role is as an agency and what we're not responsible for. So, yeah, Eric, how you doing, man? Go ahead and cue it up.
Good. So, hey, why don't you really quickly, for anybody, tell the story about your dirt bike crash?
Yeah, so most of you know I'm a pretty avid motocross rider. I used to race professionally back in the day when I wasn't so damn old, but I still ride and was up riding and crashed really hard, broke my wrist in 6 places, broke 2 ribs. Had to have surgery and got a one huge long plate in my wrist and about, 10 or 13 screws or something like that. And yeah, it has been a little bit of a process to get back going again. And for those of you who know me really well, I actually broke my other wrist in 12 places. So now I've got 2 wrists with plates and screws and broken ribs and collarbones and all kinds of stuff. So it was a little bit of a crazy time, and appreciate Eric for holding the fort down, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So, but yeah, it was a little crazy.
Well, dude, and the cool thing is we've got such a solid team right now, and it's really awesome. I mean, we made the decision a few months back that, well, a conscious decision that we're only hiring A players, and so everyone on our team right now is awesome. So yeah, that definitely helped, and Jason was able to take time and heal himself up, which he will never intentionally do, but he kind of was forced to in this instance. So yeah, man, good to have you back and rolling. And this is a good topic. So I'm going to cue it up.
Yeah.
So when we work with companies, we are a partner. We work with them as a partner. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm stating the obvious here, but just to kind of cue up this topic, in certain industries, there's agencies outside of internal companies that can do a better job. And so there's more value for the company to hire out than to hire within. Mm-hmm. And that's the state of a lot of companies for paid advertising and what we specifically focus on. So with that said, we have a dynamic and a partnership that is sometimes difficult. Yep. And we want to talk about that today. And to kind of put into perspective, imagine a bad relationship first, where you blame the other person for everything. It's always their fault. You're always nitpicking at each other. And eventually it just gets old and frustrating. And unfortunately, that happens because that happens with some clients, is that we get blamed for everything. Everything is our fault. And we want to talk today about what we are responsible for and what we're not responsible for, and how to have a good relationship. So is anything else to add there, Jason, for the intro?
No, I mean, yeah, like I said, at the beginning, I don't think I've never heard a podcast episode on this. I listen to a lot of podcasts with agency owners in it, and I don't know if they're like afraid to talk about this topic or if they just don't think it's important, but I think it's important because even if you're a customer listening to this podcast, and not necessarily a customer of ours, but just if you hired an agency and you're listening to this podcast, I think it's important to kind of, and a lot of times, like in any relationship, things get convoluted. And like Eric said, it's like, what's our role? What's their role? And it can be confusing sometimes. Right. And then a lot of times as well, Eric, I know this happens to us, is I feel like the client can tell us whatever they want, but we can't tell them whatever we want. Right. It's a little restrictive, and I kind of want to break out of that mold. And Eric, you know me, like I will fire back at a client if they treat us like crap or disrespect us in any way or anything like that. But I'm sure we'll get into all this, but just from the top, I wanted to preference that.
Yeah. And that's a good way to preface it. And I'll add in there and say that, and I don't mean to be an elitist here or cocky, but there's a lot of smaller agencies out there that operate as yes men. And I myself in the past have been one of those agencies. I was a very small agency before I joined Spotlight. And, I didn't have the skill level that Spotlight has brought, which is running very high level paid ads, Facebook and Instagram ads, as well as a few other platforms, Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat. So with that said, a lot of times what happens is companies grow and then they come to us and they're used to, a one-man show saying yes to everything. I will go to your house and change your laundry.
Exactly. Dude, totally.
And then they
walk
come
your
to
dog
us and
while we're at it,
And when we say, no, we won't walk your dog, metaphorically, people get mad. So if you're working with a high level agency, and guys, we're very aware of how big and small we are. We've worked with other agencies that are massive and have 300 employees. And then, they're down to the one-man show. We understand the spectrum. We know that we're, mid-tier. I mean, we've worked with Microsoft. So we've worked with huge companies. We understand that. But as far as us and where we're at, we provide world-class service. Jason went to a Facebook training with the people running car companies ads, and he won all the challenges, and, everybody wanted to work with him because of our high level knowledge of ads. So with that said, point number one is that be aware that if you're working with a smaller agency, you can kind of boss them around and tell them what to do. We don't operate like that. We fired, I don't know how many clients this year because they yelled at us for stuff that wasn't our fault. And we said, good luck, and chose not to work with them. And we're lucky enough to be in that position. So we level the playing field with that. That's kind of the way that I'll cue it up.
Yeah.
But what we are responsible for, let me start there.
Yeah.
Now, remember, it's different for different agencies. We focus on paid traffic. So if you're a creative agency or you're working with, we don't build websites. We do not do that. So if you're working with another agency that does that, it may be a little different, but the principles here apply. So with that said, first thing that we are responsible for with paid advertising is building the ads. And that includes project management, making sure that we're, getting them up on time and everything that goes into that. That's our skill set and that's our superpower is building, optimizing, reporting, and communicating. Those are the things that in our industry, we build your ads, we optimize your ads twice a day. All of our ads managers do that twice a day. We report on your performance. Let me back up. On optimizing, we also have third-party software that we're going to do another episode on attribution, talking about, data as well. Reporting on that data and then communicating with you as the client to make sure that your needs are being met. Those are our primary services. That's what we are responsible for. Anything else to add there, Jason?
Yeah, so just want to touch really quickly on optimizing. And that's kind of it's a word that gets confused sometimes because when we tell people we're optimizing, like sometimes they think, oh, like you're optimizing our website. No, we're not doing that. We're optimizing your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads, Snapchat, TikTok, and Pinterest, right? We're optimizing your ads. We're not optimizing your website. We're not optimizing how your business functions and works. You know what I mean? We're optimizing your ads. And I know Eric said, minimum, we've trained our ads managers and media buyers to be in the account at least twice a day to optimize. Although, and I can speak from experience here, we're probably in your ad account a lot more, or in each of our clients' ad accounts a lot more, because we really care about how the account is functioning. And I know sometimes I'll go in 5-10 times a day just to make sure everything's good, because I'm worried about the account performing at a high level, right? And you can only do that when you're in there multiple times. So we tell them twice a day, just because twice a day is a great footprint to be in the account. Facebook doesn't like huge changes right off the bat. And so twice a day is a great model to follow. Although we know that our ads managers and media buyers are in there a lot more than probably twice a day optimizing. And, reporting, we basically report on the client's KPIs. And Eric said we have a reporting software that does that. We've known about this iOS update for a year and a half, something like that. So we've been preparing for it. And this is a big black hole, and it's also a really big thorn in people's side right now, right? Is the iOS update. We can't see ROAS, we can't see this, and we've kind of resolved that, and we're going to do an episode on that. But and then communicating with clients, communication can be convoluted sometimes. We communicate about your ads, we communicate about how they're performing, but what we don't communicate on is like what your conversion rate is. That's someone else's job on your team. That's your dev team or something, right? Like we don't do all that. So yeah. Anyways, Eric, go ahead.
Well, yeah, and to add to that too, we also, one thing in the account is that we don't like people to be in the account looking and fixating on numbers day to day. We're fighting that battle for our clients, and they're in a relationship also, or a partnership. There's micromanaging, and we prefer that we're able to make those decisions freely on a daily basis with the client's KPIs in mind. We've been able to adjust. Sometimes it's difficult for people who know a little bit about ads, or even a lot, to stay out of their accounts. And it's important that, we have the freedom to make decisions and send you your reporting showing, we've hit the KPIs.
Right.
That leads me to my next point, which is communicating with partner reps at Facebook. Or at whatever it is, Pinterest or Snapchat, TikTok. So communicating with our partner reps so we're up to speed on best practices. That's a part of our skill set that we are responsible for, and we do, working with them, and they'll tell us best practices, and then we know what is working and what is not working. As an example, one of our ads managers this week, one of our best ads, they're all great, but she came to Jason and she said, hey, Facebook is recommending that I put all of my audiences into one super audience. And Jason's like, go ahead and try it, but it's not going to work. And then, she went ahead and tried it and it didn't work. So we know Facebook says a lot of do this, or, the platforms say do this, do that. And we know if it works and it doesn't. So the next one after that is training. We're responsible for training and having the skill set to be very, very good at running ads and be the experts. If something breaks and it needs fixing, we know how to do that. So that's all on us, and those are our responsibilities. Now we get to the point where there's a line, and that line is running the client's business. That's what we don't do or have control of. And it's not fair to us as an agency to come and say, hey, COVID hit my industry hard. I need you to get more ROAS, because we're going to get the absolute best ROAS an account can get. But, we can't perform miracles and make things happen that are not practical or reasonable. And that's one that we see a lot is, hey, I need you to get me a higher ROAS so that I can compensate for my payroll or my Amex bill. And that is not, now, Jason, let's move to the second part of the conversation and kind of some problems that we see. and things that we're not responsible for.
Yeah. This is
first
an important one.
Is payroll and a company's expenses. We have no control over that. We can't control how our clients spend money, their pricing. Those are not our responsibility.
Yep.
And
sure.
Jason, do you want to kind of jump in and share some thought on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, we could share some specific instances of when that's happened to us, but normally when a client comes to us and they're freaking out about ROAS or money, what they do is they say, like what Eric said, hey, we need to be at a 10x return on ad spend because we can't pay our employees. And we're like, okay, well, we can't just pull a 10x out of our you-know-whats, right? And usually there's a bigger underlying problem there. And this happens with all types of companies, big companies, small companies, medium-sized companies, or we'll process an invoice and their Amex card doesn't go through, and then we have to talk to them about what's going on and dive into a deeper portion of the company, which I don't want to do. And they're like, well, we're, whatever. And it's hard to talk about those things. And, when someone comes to us and is like, hey, we need this, we need that, that's going outside of their goal KPIs. When we are working with clients, we have goals on purpose, and those goals are not to be super inflated, unrealistic goals. They're supposed to be goals that are attainable. Yes, they need to be a little bit on the high side, but if you've never been at a 6x return and that's what you want, and you're at a 1x right now, it's probably going to be pretty tough to get you at a 6x if you've never been there before, right? Yep. So that's not our problem. And one of the biggest things that we see is Facebook ads aren't working. And then we go in and look at the numbers. We go in and look at a lot of different metrics that we decide to look at because of our experience. And if people are clicking on the ad, they're clicking through to your site, the ads are working. It's obviously resonating with the person that's seeing the ad. Facebook does give metrics like, are people engaging with your ad? Is it low engagement, high engagement, stuff like that. Normally our ads are very high engaged. People are clicking on them, they're clicking through. But then we go look at the conversion rate on their Shopify store, for example, and it's horrible. Well, again, we can give suggestions, but we're not Shopify conversion analysts, and we're not going to revamp your Shopify store to make it convert better. That's something that you have to do as a business owner. But we get blamed for it. Well, ads aren't working. Well, actually, ads are working. It's just your conversion rate's super crappy. Another thing that we'll get blamed for is just, actually, we get blamed for everything, right, Eric? I mean, we really do. If their business is not hitting the KPIs business wise, it's Facebook ads, Yep. And even if we have this conversation when we bring them on, and we tell our clients all these things when we bring them on, these are our responsibilities. Don't come at us if the price of your product has gone up 20%. You can't expect Facebook ads to magically make that 20% reappear in your pocket. It's just not possible for us to do that. And then, another thing that happens a lot too is, for example, shipping's like a big deal right now, right? And unfortunately, Amazon has made it to where we expect free 2-day shipping on everything, okay? And a lot of businesses, especially the smaller businesses, can't offer free shipping because it cuts into their margins. And a lot of times their margins are a lot higher because they're going through Alibaba or something like that, or they have a fulfillment company that charges them a certain percentage of each product to fulfill. And so it drives down their margins. And if you make a substantial change, like go from free shipping for years and then all of a sudden want to take out free shipping, that's going to affect your numbers. And you can't blame us and say, Facebook ads aren't working, our numbers are down. Because when we go into your Shopify store and look at your abandoned carts, we're going to see that as soon as they get to that shipping portion of the funnel, boom, they're falling off like crazy because all of a sudden free shipping is gone. Especially on return customers who got free shipping before and now have to pay $30, $40, $50, $100 for shipping, depending on the weight of your product. So that's just a few things that we get blamed for as a Facebook agency, and we have to have these hard conversations with clients about, well, that's actually not our responsibility. As a business owner, you need to think about that stuff and not just blame it all on Facebook ads.
So adding on to that, another, thing that we always, or not always, that we would be really great if clients understood, and sometimes we have to address this, is that we'll hear sometimes, well, SMS and email is free. Well, I can send out emails and SMS. And so they'll evaluate the value of paid traffic. And it's important to understand that paid traffic is a part of the role. It's not the entire, or a part of the business, not the entire business or marketing department. Yep. Without paid traffic, your SMS and email lists are not going to increase.
Right.
So paid traffic is a key component of, you can't scale SMS and email. You can't scale them. You can't send an email and get more emails. You can't send a text and get more text, but we can do a paid ad and get you more emails and phone numbers. So that's a lot of times it's almost like we have to explain the value of prospecting and bringing and reaching new people, which is what paid traffic and Facebook ads allow you to do. And so when we refer to Facebook, it's because that's our origin and our strong point, but that's all the platforms, paid traffic. So that's an important realization, is that prospecting is the role of paid traffic, part of the role. It's also retargeting, but that's what allows a company to build their email and SMS and some other avenues.
Yep,
we're also not responsible for market ups and downs. Now, we know that businesses have to analyze if the market's a fit and if they want to run paid traffic, but a dip in numbers sometimes can be because of something that happens with an industry. Yep. And it's not our fault that the industry is performing the way that it is. We're going to do our best to help navigate through that. The other one that I want to bring up, and I'll just throw a few out here, Jason, you can add to them, is ups and downs. There are absolutely seasonal ups and downs as we scale. There's an illusion or a myth of, I'm going to scale to 10,000 at a 3 ROAS or whatever they want. Then I'm going to get to 50,000 consistently at a 3 ROAS every day. And then I'm going to get to 1 million at a 3 ROAS because you know everything about ads. That's not how the market works. And just to illustrate that, we all know that on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, your sales are going to see a major boost. More people are purchasing. And so that's a clear indicator of that's a time of year when people purchase more. 2020 in April and May, we saw Black Friday numbers because of quarantine and stimulus checks. That's a market up and down. And it's not realistic to expect us to be at a consistent 8 ROAS every single day of the year. That's just not practical.
Yep.
So anyways, anything to add to those ones, Jason?
Yeah. So that kind of leads me into something that's very similar. And I do want to cover you have a bullet point here, Eric's full-time data analyst.
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
We'll talk about that one in a minute. But one thing that we've gotten quite a bit is when clients come to us and say, hey, we need to be at 100,000 within 30 days. We're at 5,000 right now. What do we need to do to get there? And then they tell us they don't care about ROAS. We want to spend 100K. This is a big one for an agency, a Facebook agency, because when a client comes to us and says, we need to be at X amount, but we're only at, and let's just do daily spend. Let's say we're spending $800 a day, but we need to be at 5,000 a day. And we need to do that today, right? And then we usually push back and say, hey, listen, if we want to do this, it's going to throw everything off the rails. You can't scale from spending 800 to 5,000 in one day and expect, you to be at a positive ROAS, it's going to take some time to kind of even out and for us to optimize and get things up there. And then every time we've seen this, a client will say, I don't care. We need to be at 8,000 a day or 5,000 a day, and we need to do it today. So can you do that? Yes, we can do it, but these are the consequences, and we kind of list them out, but they always say they don't care. And then 2 weeks later, they come at us and they're like, hey, why is our ROAS so low? And I'm like, okay,
did you the CFO or the money person?
Right. And usually it's the money person, right? It's the CFO of the company coming to us directly saying, hey, why in the heck are we spending 5,000 a day and we're only getting a return of 2,000 a day? Right? Well, we explained this to the owner and everybody else that was on our call, and they told us that ROAS wasn't an issue. And literally this has happened several times where almost 2 weeks later, we get reamed for spending. And again, this comes back to responsibilities. Like, it's not our responsibility to know what's going on with the business. All we see is Facebook, right? So, and then we end up having like this, we've lost clients over it because we're like, okay, we can't work with you guys anymore because you're telling us to do one thing. Then we're getting emails from your CFO and you're coming at us telling us, hey, well, we want to be at 5,000 a day, but why aren't we at a 3 ROAS already in 2 weeks? Right? And that's just, it's not possible to do that. And with Facebook is a gradual, and we tell this to every client that comes on, it's a gradual uptick in ROAS and in spend gradually. It's not something that can happen overnight. And a lot of times they hear these gurus on the internet, oh, we can scale you to 150K, not even knowing anything about the business. Like, I hate that crap, man. Like, scaling is not just some magic thing you can pull out of your ass and all of a sudden you're scaled to 150K and the month prior you're only spending 2,000 a month. So that's a huge one. And I know other agency owners listening to this are going to be like, oh yeah, that's totally. But it's all about the bigger picture with these clients. And if someone comes to you and says, I want to spend 5,000 a day and only spending $800 a day the day prior, trust me, it's going to end bad.
Yeah. And
always does.
It always does. And let me add to that too. And two things. One, for people listening, I now require all of our ads managers, our media buyers, to put it in writing. When people tell us to up the spend by tens of thousands or thousands of dollars in daily spend, I now have them put it in writing that they understand performance will most likely dip and that we have 30 to 60 days to correct a dip in performance, because we have to retest, re-optimize, scale back if performance dips. And it's almost worse when there's times when we up the budget and it works. There's times. But it's like gambling is what it is. It's you're throwing the algorithm off into unknown territory where it can't learn and it can't, keep consistency. So, that's definitely an important one. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then, it's a stressful part of the agency life. It really is. Like, it's super hard and stressful to do things like this sometimes, because we know it's going to end bad. And we tell them that. We tell the clients, hey, this is not going to end good if you guys want to do this. And if you're expecting a ROAS of X, Y, and Z, in 2 weeks, it's not going to happen. Yes, revenue is going to spike. You're going to get more orders, but you're going to have to front load those orders and pay for those orders out of your own pocket for at least a few weeks until the algorithm evens out and we can get ads performing the way we need them to perform. But most business owners don't get that.
Yeah. And dude, I thought of one we don't have in the notes, but I know you'll want to talk about. Something else to keep in mind too for, you larger clients that have reps at Facebook is that reps at Facebook are not always right. In fact, sometimes they're very wrong. And you have to remember that our goal is to get you the best numbers. Their goal, and I'm not saying that all Facebook reps are terrible people. They're not. They're great people, and we work with a lot of them. But their motive behind their position is to get you to spend more money. So when they say things like, oh, it doesn't matter if you spend 1,000 a day right now or 8,000 a day, your performance will be the same. That is just absolutely false. And we know that. And you could be working with companies that spend 250 grand a day. Like there's different levels, but depending on where each ad account is at, it absolutely makes a difference, how fast you scale up and how much budget you throw at it. And the Facebook reps aren't always right.
Nope. Actually, they're wrong most of the time. And most of the good reps that we work with always say, hey guys, you guys know what you're doing. You're running ads every day. I don't run ads like you do. Although I'd love to spend more money on the platform, we can't do it at a loss. And that's exactly what happened to us. We had a client that became really good friends with a rep and listened to that rep for everything and didn't listen to us. And it has been detrimental to their business, and basically told the company to just spend as much as possible. Don't worry about ROAS because it's going to work. Well, didn't work. It dive bombed really bad
for months.
Yeah. So
yeah. Don't always listen to the Facebook reps.
Let's talk about the data analyst, because this is a big one. And just because we send reporting doesn't mean we're going to evaluate like your competitors' websites and like all this stuff, right? Like, yes, we need to see what's going on with your competitors, but I think some clients take it a little too far. So Eric, talk about, I know you've been tasked with many data analysis type things. our media buyers and ads managers have. So talk a little about that.
Yeah. So first of all, just to make sure everyone knows, we totally understand the value of data analysts. And, when you work with accounts like Microsoft size or, Apple size, like you're going to need data analysts on your team to, pull massive amounts of data and, calibrate and optimize the ads correctly. So we totally understand the value of analyzing data. However, our role as a paid traffic agency is to report. Now, I will say that we also research audiences, we research avatars, we research competitors. As we build your audiences, we do, our media buyers do full breakdowns of your market, your industry, your competitors. So there's that, which is our role. I have a line here, and it's whenever anyone asks us to take data out of our reporting software, Northbeam, data, it's more than reporting, it's data attribution reporting and data analysis, and then create a giant spreadsheet because you want to know what colors are performing better on your ads. That's where I draw the line, is spending hours daily extracting data and then putting it on a spreadsheet. When that is wanted by your company, that is either an in-house or we charge more and hire a specific data analyst because you want more info. And a lot of times it's, hey, I want, what color, what image, what ad copy, and that would require a full-time data analyst to pull that info for you every single day. And I actually give a lot of freedom to our media buyers to not have to report to us, because I want them to be able to make decisions quickly and efficiently and not trip over themselves with data. Data can also become an obstacle.
Yep.
And
absolutely.
so
it can take away time. It can take away time for what we do best, which is be inside of your account, optimizing your ads and getting you the KPIs that you want and need for your business. But instead, sometimes we've gone down the road, and we've learned from all this. That's why we're talking about it, right? We've done it. We've learned from all this. Like they spend hours in the account, and then they're like, oh shoot, I have to optimize my ads. And they actually only optimized once because they were so in the weeds with pulling out all this data that a client wanted that really is for the business. It's not for your Facebook spend or your paid traffic.
Yeah. And another one is that's really big is like, Now we'll pull reasonable reports, like which videos are performing best, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a request to break down 500 videos every single week, or not 500 videos, 500 variations of videos, copy, and images every single week, that moves into the data analyst territory. And that's either an increase with us to hire a data analyst for you, or that's internal and the company hiring a data analyst in-house to pull reports and create more content. Now, for creative agencies, that's different. For paid traffic, that does not fall in our wheelhouse unless it's added to your agreement or your contract.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and we're very good at communicating what we need when we need it. If we need more videos, we'll tell you. If something's not performing, we'll tell you, right? Like we're very good at communicating that. And that, again, is kind of related in the reports that we send every Friday, and then we do a monthly report that does break down a lot more stuff in detail. And actually what we've been doing lately is recording Loom videos and going over kind of like a monthly report of what's going on inside your ad account. And that should be enough to kind of tell you what's going on. But, it's tough for us to always report on these crazy things that clients want. It's like, dude, come on, like we're trying to run your Facebook ads here. We're not trying to look at your Shopify store and the funnel and all that stuff. So it can get a little crazy. And we do push back with clients and tell them no. We actually tell clients no all the time. And it's not because we're lazy, we don't want to do the work. It's because you're taking away from what we do best, which is getting you world-class Facebook ads, attribution, and results. I mean, that's it, right? That's what we do. So, right, awesome, Eric. What? Anything else here that you think we should talk about?
Well, I guess I should just say our goal. I know we talked about the positives and negatives, but our goal is to have good partnerships, and good partnerships need these principles. And it's funny because I'm reading a book as anybody. It's like a book club within internally, and I'm reading High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard.
Love it.
Really good book if anyone hasn't read it. But he talks about high performers, and for anybody that hasn't heard of this book, he basically interviews high performers and then talks about the practices and actions that they take. And how you can do those and you can change. And so one of the things that he said about high performers and leaders is that respect is very important to them. And that is the one characteristic that they really care about when it comes to confrontation or performance or, partnerships and relationships, is respect. And that is the line for us. If a client disrespects us, we choose not to work with them. And so we are a high level agency. We give respect, and we also expect respect in return.
Yep. Yeah. So, if you have a partner in anything, you're going to respect that person. You're going to believe what they tell you. Right. And I'm not saying every agency is going to tell you the truth all the time, because they're not. You're probably going to get burned. Most of you, especially on the client side, have been burned. And that's why it sucks for us, because when we get to you and you're done with all these stupid agencies, we have to jump through a ton of hoops to make you realize that we're actually good. We know what we're doing and we know what we're talking about. And it's too bad that you've been burned 2 or 3 or 4 times before that because of this stuff. And we want to be a partner. We're not just I don't know what these guys do. They just freaking run my Facebook ads. We're a partner here. We demand respect. We give respect back. But as soon as you start demeaning us and talking down to us, then that's when I draw the line. So does Eric, and we'll let you have it. So, and I'm not trying to sound like a jerk either. We're the best thing and whatever, because we're very good. I think we're one of the best agencies out there, and that speaks from our work. But we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. There's going to be times where oh man, I left that ad on. I shouldn't have. I spent a few bucks more. We all make mistakes, but there still has to be respect in a relationship like this with agencies and customers. So,
yep.
Awesome, dude.
Man. Well, good topic, and look forward to our next podcast on attribution and reporting. We're going to dive into the different models, and we have a really exciting new model coming soon that will allow us to see Facebook numbers as they were before in Business Manager, which is really exciting. So
yeah, super excited for that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us, info@spotlightsocialllc.com, and we can answer all your questions. And if you would like to inquire more about working with us, Eric, where can they go?
Email me, eric@spotlightsocialadvertising.com.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, guys. See you later. Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening to The Truth About Social Ads. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please visit our website at truthaboutsocialads.com for show notes and additional episodes. And if you have time, please subscribe to the podcast and please consider rating and reviewing the show if you enjoyed it. That will help other people find us. By the way, I would love to hear from you. Please send me an email at jason@spotlightsocialllc.com with your feedback, questions, or a topic you'd like me to talk about on the show. If you send me a question, maybe I'll read it on the show. See you later. Bye.